It's November 25th, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have a royal disaster that changed a kingdom forever, a stunt that pushed human limits, and a storm that defied science. Let's begin. On November 25th, in the year 1120, a single decision on the cold, black waters of the English Channel altered the fate of an entire kingdom. The White Ship, the pride of Norman engineering, set sail from Bethier under the moonless sky. Aboard were more than 300 of England's most powerful nobles, and at the heart of the voyage, 17-year-old William, the only legitimate heir to King Henry I. But the ship never made it out of the harbor. Witnesses say the crew had been drinking, celebrating their prestige. Laughter echoed across the water moments before the vessel struck a hidden rock, loud enough to be heard from the shore. The hull ripped open, water surged in, and panic spread. In the chaos, William escaped. He made it into a small lifeboat, the one chance of survival, and for a moment, the future King of England was safe. Then, something happened that history still can't let go of. William heard his half-sister, Matilda, crying out from the sinking deck. Her lifeboat was being pulled under by desperate hands of people fighting to climb aboard. Against every instinct of survival, William ordered his rowers to turn back to save her. When his boat returned to the wreck, dozens of drowning passengers clawed at the side. The small craft was overwhelmed instantly, and it capsized, vanishing into the freezing channel along with the heir to the throne. By dawn, almost no one was left alive. If William had stayed on that lifeboat, England might have avoided decades of chaos. The kingdom spiraled towards a brutal civil war known as the Anarchy, all triggered by a single night, a single ship, and a single tragic choice. On November 25th, 1914, the world's greatest escape artist prepared for one of the most dangerous stunts ever attempted, a feat that today even leaves medical experts shaking their heads. This was the night Harry Houdini stepped into the infamous water torture cell, a device so unforgiving that even a moment of hesitation could mean the end. Houdini's ankles were locked into heavy wooden stalks, and the cell below him was filled with freezing water, clear, silent, and utterly merciless. Then, in front of his breathless audience, Houdini was lifted upside down and lowered headfirst into the tank. The stalk slammed shut above the glass chamber as thick curtains dropped, hiding him from view. But from behind that curtain, something happened that defied every rule of human endurance. Doctors and attendants monitored his pulse from stage wings, using primitive but reliable equipment. And partway through the escape, the readings changed. His pulse slowed and then dipped into a pattern so faint that they barely registered it at all. For 7 seconds, their instruments showed almost nothing, and any other person would have lost consciousness in that icy water. Yet Houdini was still working, still fighting, and still escaping. The audience felt the tension shift in the room, and some screamed for stagehands to tear down the curtains, convinced the stunt had gone too far. Then, after what felt like an eternity, Houdini burst through the curtains, soaked, gasping, and triumphant. His stunt was legendary, yet his real trick is how he defines the limits of a human body. On November 25th, 1950, the eastern United States woke to a storm that seemed to defy every law of weather and physics. It would be remembered as the Great Appalachian Storm, one of the deadliest and most chaotic winter systems in American history, one whose atmospheric behavior still puzzles scientists today. As the storm exploded over the Appalachian region, temperatures plummeted, winds screamed across the mountains, and almost an otherworldly pressure system formed overhead. Weather stations documented readings that shifted in ways no storm had ever. Pockets of rising pressure where there should have been falling, and sudden structural changes within the system that meteorologists described as impossible in real time. Then came the snow. Over 2 feet buried eastern Ohio, West Virginia, western Pennsylvania, and parts of New York. Entire towns seemed to vanish beneath white drifts. Roads struggled under the weight, power lines snapped like twigs, and travelers were stranded for days as the storm carved its way across 22 states. Some described the experience as if the snow had been moving with intent, shifting in directions with a mind of its own. Rescue crews spoke of snowbanks that grew in minutes and winds that seemed to twist unnaturally between valleys, and the silence after the storm almost felt unnatural. Most storms leave behind destruction, but this one left behind questions, and even scientists agree that night was something else entirely. Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next Eerie dose is just a day away.